In recent videos, I've looked at the Wild Mouse and Steel Wild Mouse rides, and today it's the turn of the Spinning Wild Mouse. In essence, it is a Steel Wild Mouse ride, but with spinning cars, and an additional element which can control the spinning action. This should be the shortest of my 3 videos on the different Wild Mouse coasters, because much of what applied for the Wild Mouse is true of the spinning version too. A quick recap, and for those who haven't watched that video yet, of important points which are relevant to all 3 Wild Mouse rides. They are cheap compared to many other coasters, return relatively high stats compared to their cost, which is even more prevalent in the spinning version. They can be built with compact designs thanks to tight corner pieces, although the spinning version doesn't have the steep hills other Wild Mouse coasters benefit from. And the Wild Mouse and Spinning Wild Mouse coaster have the same stat requirements, which are minimum requirements any track ride must meet to get its full excitement, intensity and nausea ratings. For each requirement you miss, your stats are halved. For the Steel and Spinning Wild Mouse, this means a minimum drop of 13 feet or 4 meters, at least 2 drops, a top speed of at least 16 miles per hour, a track which is at least 558 feet long, and lateral Gs hitting 1.5 or higher. So, where is a Spinning Wild Mouse different from a Steel version? Well, as mentioned, there are no sloped turns or steep hills, meaning you can't make them quite as compact as the other Wild Mouse coasters. The spinning control toggle I referenced will lock the car in whatever position it is in when it hits that track piece. In real life, this would be very useful to avoid making your guests too dizzy or sick, but in Rollercoaster Tycoon it actually makes no difference to any of the stats, as you'll see with this Dizzy Mouse. On the left there are no toggles, and on the right there are 2, but the stats are identical. A more controlled spin doesn't reduce the nausea rating at all. That's because the higher nausea rating of the Spinning Wild Mouse compared to the wooden and steel version comes with the car type, rather than responding to the amount of spinning the ride actually does. And the spinning cars do also give an increase to excitement and intensity compared to the Steel Wild Mouse, although not by anywhere near as much as the nausea rating gains. As the Steel and Spinning Wild Mouse rides have the same tracks, like with stat requirements, costs are identical, which are slightly higher than the wooden Wild Mouse, although this does change if you're building high or underground thanks to the cheaper supports. In Rollercoaster Tycoon Classic, you get 3 pre-built rides in the build menu: Dizzy Mouse, which has already featured in this video, plus the slightly more compact Mutant Mouse and Rat Race rides. So that completes my 3 ride guides for the Wild Mouse coaster variants. Thank you for watching, and I'll be back soon with more Rollercoaster Tycoon Classic guides. In the meantime, please share, like and comment. My channel is continuing to grow and it's so exciting to see you interact.